Hey, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. I have another book review for you today. So, keeping up with my series of reviewing all of the books that I read in my book club for the year. So, I reviewed October's book because it was fresh in my brain, or as fresh as it can be. So now I'm going back all the way to January, which is not at all fresh in my brain, but I will be reviewing Bunny by Mona Awad. I don't have the physical book because I borrowed the ebook from my library or on Libby. So the cover is this beautiful pink cover. Wore my pink for the video today. This is blurbed by the Margaret Atwood. Oh, Bunny, you are so genius. And that's kind of a take on the bunnies in the book being in their like little cult, meaning like the authors being their own little cult of bunnies because they all call each other Bunny, but we'll get to that. So yeah, this was my first book that I read. Well, I don't know if this is technically my first book I read in January, but this is my first book that my book club read in 2024. So, oh, Bunny. Okay, this is going to be a book. Sorry, I just need to get to my notes because I have to write notes, otherwise, Bunny, here we are. Otherwise, it's gonna be discombobulated. Okay, so Bunny is fiction, dark academia, dark comedy, and horror. Does have some horror aspects to it. It's not, I mean, it does get like gory, I guess. It does get gory, but it's not like, I don't know. I read a lot of horror, so that's, I guess, subjective, but yeah. We do have unreliable narrator situation if you like that, and it is surrealism as well. This is definitely a weird book. My book club is called the TBR and symbol DNF book club. I'm not afraid to DNF a book for my book club, okay? I'm not. And I was this close to DNFing this book. I did not like this book at all. The writing is it can get it was like a little pretentious, a little like atmospheric code word for like, just say what you're gonna say. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of words, wordy. Yeah, it's pretentious and a little bit confusing and just like, okay, what are we talking about? What are we doing? And it just like went on, and I just was not liking it at all. And I really thought about DNFing it, and I'm so glad I didn't. I ended up loving it. A spoiler alert, I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. And it is one that I would love to read again, knowing what I know now, you know, understanding what I read. So yeah, that's just kind of a little background information about it. I will kind of go through what it's about, and then I'm going to go into spoilers. So if you just kind of want to know the little synopsis of it, and then you can like check out if you want to, if you actually don't want to know spoilers. Yeah. Okay, our main character, Samantha, she's in college, and she is in a workshop because they're about to write their thesis. And she's in a workshop with this other group, and they call themselves bunnies, the bunnies. And they call each other Bunny. Oh, Bunny, and everyone is Bunny. So you don't know who is who because everyone is Bunny. And and they're very like pink, and they eat cupcakes, and it's very like, it's like Mean Girls, but they're not they're mean, they're scary, but they're more pink. They're more like cupcake girly, like affectionate and huggy, and like into their feelings. And do you know what I mean? They're very, I don't know how else to explain it. They're very affectionate with each other and like oh, Bunny, that was so amazing, Bunny. Yeah, and they only call each other Bunny. And Samantha's really going through it, and she's having a really tough time writing her thesis. It's not going well, and she hates the bunnies. They're very wealthy, they're very pink, they're very affectionate. I'm just looking down at my notes, so if you see me looking down. But yeah, she hates them. And one night, the bunnies invite Samantha to their little get-together that they have. And Samantha risks it all. She has one friend, Ava, and she risks it all to go to this meeting with the bunnies. I don't remember why she does this. Guys, I read this in January. I can't even remember the book that I'm reading right now, let alone what I read in January. So I really had to like dig deep and go back and remember this. But I feel like Bunny's not a book that you forget. You either love it or you hate it. So she goes to this meeting. And whoops, you're in a cult. Like, wow, you're in a cult. The end. That's the book. Now there's going to be spoilers. So that concludes the spoiler-free part of the book. We will be going into spoilers now. I'm warning you. Spoilers are going to happen, okay? Spoilers are happening. She realizes that, oh, some freaky stuff is happening when these bunnies are getting together. This is not just some, like, cutie little cupcake girls. These bunnies are taking bunnies, the animal, bunnies, and turning those bunnies into boys for themselves to love them and take care of them. And if those boys don't quite turn out the way they want them to, because sometimes they turn them into a boy and that boy just sits there and screams, or he's disfigured, well, then they have to murder him. They have to kill him. Oops, that one didn't turn out. We got to kill him. They're like, yeah, that sometimes happens. And Samantha's like, excuse me? Well, Samantha gets sucked into this world anyway. And it turns out Samantha's really good at this. Samantha can do this too. Samantha can turn bunnies into boys. Okay? So just take that in. But the bunnies knew this. The bunnies knew that Samantha had this ability to turn bunnies into boys. Well, Samantha accidentally turns a stag, I think it's a stag, into a boy, not a bunny, a stag. And the bunny boys are supposed to be very loyal and just there to like love them and please them. But this stag boy becomes obsessed with her best friend and wants to basically ruin the bunnies. So it turns into a whole thing. The bunnies got more than they bargained for with Samantha. They thought that it was going to be kind of their ticket to like, we can have all the boys that we want, like bending over backwards for us, you know? Well, then it gets even more kind of sad for Samantha because we find out, this is kind of another spoiler. This is going to be a lot of spoilers, so I'm sorry. There's so much that happens in this book, you guys. Wait, before I say this, I have not heard anyone, when you look at reviews, talk about this in the book. And it kept coming up, and I just need to put this out there. There's a few times in the book, and I'll get to this, maybe I should say this at the end. I'll save it for the end. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm saving this for the end. Okay, spoiler. Her friend Ava isn't real. Samantha, she's a swan. Samantha turned her from a swan into her friend Ava. Isn't that kind of sad? I feel like that was a turning point in the book for me where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm understanding this. I'm getting this. I'm feeling for Samantha. I don't know. That really like did something to me. I don't know. So Ava isn't real. She's a swan. She made her too. The bunnies' creations never quite turned out right. There was kind of always something wrong with them. They were always kind of wonky or disfigured. But Samantha's always turned out great. And I think the bunnies kind of always resented her for that. But that's why they wanted her in the group in the first place, is because her creations turned out so much better. But there's also a lot of speculation in this book that Samantha is schizophrenic and that there aren't any bunnies. These people are not real, that these people are just people made up in her brain. Ava's not real. The bunnies aren't real. These are just people in her brain, made up in her head. The biggest debate is that there's a boy in the book named Jonah. He is seen in the book in other parts. There's like, I think, a Thanksgiving dinner that he's seen, that he's there with her at. But like, she could also have made up those other people at the dinner as well. That part was so heartbreaking to me because I wanted him to be real for her. Like, I wanted her to have like a quote unquote real friend because Ava wasn't real. And I just wanted Jonah to be real for her. And the ending was people like I just lost both of my lights. People, you either loved or hated the ending, the Jonah. Like, if you read it, you know you either loved or hated the ending. I'm losing my lights. I'm so sorry. It leaves you with so many questions. So many questions on whether or not Jonah, again, spoilers, I'm sorry, is either real or all made up in her head. And if she's even in college, dealing with all of these people, dealing with the bunnies. I just lost all my lighting. I'm so sorry. I forgot to charge them. If these people are, in fact, people that she's interacting with, or if they're just made up in her mind and she is schizophrenic. You can go on, I haven't gone on Reddit, but you can go on Reddit and there's so many, I guess, feeds, things that you can look up about this. So what do you think? Okay, the thing I was going to say, though, I've never seen anyone talk about this, but I remember reading this. There were so many instances where she was at the bunny's house, walking home or going home, and she could not remember how to get back to her house. Or maybe she was at Jonah's or where she was at Thanksgiving. I can't remember. And she couldn't remember where she lived or how to get back to her home. Why is nobody talking about that? Why can't this girl remember where she lived or how to get back to her house? Like, it took her hours to figure out how to get home. What? Why is that? That part made me believe that something wasn't right. That something was going on with her, some type of schizophrenia, some type of mental illness, some type of something. And no one ever, the reviews that I've watched or the people talk about this book, I've never heard anyone mention that. And to me, that just like, maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe I'm reading into that too much or making a big deal of it, then it's not a big deal. But to me, that just seemed so strange. Because when I read it, I'm like, what do you mean you don't know where you live? Or what do you mean you can't remember how to get home? And then I'm like, well, maybe the bunnies did something to her, but I don't know. Does anyone else know what I'm talking about? Like, when you read the book? I'm actually dying to reread this book because it's a short book. I believe it's under 300 pages, so it's a quick read. But I'm so dying to know what you thought, if you caught that at all. And again, maybe I'm reading too much into that or I'm remembering that wrong. But I do remember reading that thinking like, wait a second, what do you mean she can't remember how to get home? I really hope someone knows what I'm talking about and I'm not like crazy right now. Maybe I'm schizophrenic. But yeah, the ending does leave a lot of questions because, okay, spoiler alert for the ending. The last sentence is she's talking to Jonah And instead of Jonah answering her, the mud puddle or the puddle answers her, or she's answering herself or something like that. And so it's like she's talking to herself instead of talking to Jonah. So that's why people think it's all in her head. So what do you guys think? Do you think Samantha is schizophrenic or something like that? Do you think this is all in her head? What do you guys think? I'm not sure what to think. First of all, we have people turning bunnies into boys, stags into boys, swans into best friends. So, like, this is surrealism. So, how much suspended belief am I supposed to go? You know what I mean? Like, am I supposed to really go there and believe this? Then let's fulfill the whole fantasy and let's believe it all. I really want to believe that Jonah is real and that this girl has a freaking friend. Like, I really want to believe that, because that ending broke my heart, especially when the whole thing with Ava was revealed and everything. By the way, chaos ensued with the bunnies. They got, yeah, that whole thing just, it got insane. Yeah, it really got insane. The bunnies got theirs for sure. So I don't know what I think. Part of me does think that this is probably in her head and that she's probably alone. Yeah, I think that's probably the most reasonable answer, but I don't know. The other part of me thinks that maybe Jonah is with her in whatever place she's in, you know, but because I thought too, like, if she can't remember how to get back home, I thought maybe she can't remember how to get back to her room if she's in like I don't know. I just think it's very sad. I don't know. I actually really want to read this book again, because I think there's like some subtleties maybe I missed and some interesting things that I probably didn't quite pick up on. Maybe the author has spoken up about this. Does she have anything to say about her interpretations of it? Because maybe we're all just like being too, we're picking it apart, and she's just like, guys, it's literally about like people making bunnies and it's surreal and you just need to like have fun with it. And I don't know. You really either will like love it or hate it, or you don't know why you'll love it. I'm kind of in that category. I'm like, I don't know why I loved it, but there's something about it that I really loved. It's so kooky, wacky. The writing, I think you either will really enjoy it or you won't. I did not enjoy it at the beginning. And then, like I said, something kind of switched for me where I just really started to like develop feelings for these characters. I think it was when Samantha kind of started to switch on the bunnies and started to kind of like pop out of this like almost hypnotizing thing that she was in. You know, she was almost hypnotized by the bunnies. And when she's kind of started to like come out of that, and yeah, there was kind of this moment. I don't know. I feel like I had that moment too in the book, and I started to really enjoy it. There was definitely a moment there, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm enjoying it now. I feel like maybe something in the writing kind of switched. I don't know. There was definitely a point in the book where I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying this now. I'm like locked in. And then the ending was so heartbreaking. I really enjoyed it. So that is Bunny. What did you guys think? I know it's like a little bit of an older book, but I read everything from classics to new releases to, I read everything. So, in our book club. So yeah, that was Bunny. Yeah, I'm super curious if you guys have read this, what your thoughts are on it. I'm super curious also to read or to hear what you think, like if she's crazy, if it was on her head. I don't know. I'm really interested to hear what you thought. I really enjoyed this. I'm trying to think if you if you liked this book, if you like this book, but if you kind of like good for her books, you'll probably like this. But that is Bunny. That was our January pick for book club. It was a 4 out of 5 stars for me. And I do not remember what February's pick. Oh, I think it was The Dead Romantics. Dead Romantics. I think it was that, maybe. I think it was a romance, which I don't usually read, but February, you know, I think that's what it was. So stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this. I tried not to be too rambly. I think I was still rambly, but it's hard to remember these books when you read them like a year ago, you know, but I tried my best. This one is a little out there, but it's fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Share this video if you can. Subscribe if you are not subscribed. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.